due technical problem. Ada anyone being rejected from the session because you have to enter into your account. Right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yeah. Hafiz, any issue?
No issue, sir. Waalaikumsalam. Happy Labor Day.
Kerja kita tak apa. Bukan kerja lah, kita study ya. Today we are going to look at the first topic as already mentioned in the what they call it the area, which is we're looking at the topic specific, which is defamation area as a law of tort. Let's look at the exam question just to give you a bird's eye view of what you can expect in your final. So this one, this one is during COVID, so there will be only 4 question, right? This is 4 question. But why is it December 2019? Still yet. Ni bukan COVID lagi, okay. Okay, whatever it is, this section, part A, 20 marks. This is
the... Zaini, are you showing the past year question because we're looking at your the defamation punya chapter right now?
Oh yeah, okay. So, thank you. I thought I was showing my entire screen.
No worries.
Okay. Okay, this is the question. This is part A. Last semester, if I'm not mistaken, there was no defamation question being asked. So I think most probably then this semester that you would be asked about defamation. So it is a major topic area for TOTS 2. So if you look at this, this will be sampling lah. We need to know what is the anticipation of examination question. So boleh baca?
Boleh.
Boleh, sir.
Okay, good. What do you think about this question? Obviously, for us not being able to get familiarized with the law of defamation, you want to like, wow, okay. What is your opinion? What is your reaction lah? What is not opinion, reaction?
I think this is common. Common means like it usually happen in the society, especially whether between civil groups and also corporate companies or even between the politician.
Very good. This is quite common, right? So the question that is going to be asked of you would portray that something that is normal, that is happening, in our society, and it has to be in a fictitious manner lah. Kita tak nak quote unquote, an actual thing, because if the actual thing is not something that is being discussed in a court of law, then obviously you're not supposed to, takut nanti kita pula kena defame, right? So normally it is a fictitious punya situation given in exam, and something that is related to the what you said just now. Siapa tadi kata? Lupa tengok. Zaida ke? Siapa yang cakap tadi?
Alia.
Alia, okay. So Alia kata this is something to reflect what is actually happening in our society. Is quite normal. So if it's normal, we need to be able to frame this particular issue into perspective, into legal perspective, whether it is able for us to take action legally. Obviously you can take action, everyone can take action against the other person. Whether you are going to be successful, that is the one that we want to undertake. So learning defamation is trying to understand what formula or what test that we have to apply, just like TOTS 1. TOTS 1 is just merely applying the test, and the test is being the task of you to apply the test in front of the judge, and for the judge to balance out which application of the test have more merit, and if you can give the judge the the expression, that you have a better case, then chances of your client winning is very very high. So it is all about learning the test, okay, for us to learn the test, and then to be able to apply to the current situation that as can be seen in this particular question, right? So obviously for you guys, obviously not doing the knowing what is the test is something, it is impossible for you to apply whether it is a defamation act or not, because we want to know by the end of the study, we want to be able to surely and confidently say that that particular situation that was given to you falls under defamation. And on top of that, if legal action were to be taken, then obviously we can be winning that case. Okay, so that is the aim of defamation, in order for us to screen whatever things that is happening in our society, whether they falls under the legal scope of defamation act, especially because we do have an act here, whether it falls under the true definition of defamation, or it might not be. In the second paragraph, honest mistake, that is some information that is given in order for you to utilize the information and argue, argue and make your legal argument in it. So things like murderer, murderer is a statement that is being made about somebody else. Whether that particular word murderer falls under defamation or not, that is one thing that we have to identify. There are some others lah. So boleh kita, that is the the outcome of our study. So we need to be able to identify what is defamation and what is not defamation. Okay, people will ask you whenever they know that you are learning, law, especially when they know about thoughts, and defamation will be core in one of the area of thoughts. So they are going to ask you whether what is your opinion about this particular act that happened in the society or happened to them. So you are to give your, what they call it, legal view lah, atau legal legal information that you have. Okay, so the hopefully today the 3 hours we will be spending on defamation, and also kalau tak salah, we try to I try my best to look at the what they call it, the extension of defamation chapter, which is defense of defamation. Obviously, so we need to look at both sides. Defamation is towards taking action against someone for defamatory statement or defamatory act that they have done. And the second one is to be able to be on the opposition, yeah, on the other party which is trying to defend. No, I did not do that. It is justified for me to do that. It is something that is real. So kita akan belajar attacking dengan defensive. Yeah, attacking is the law of or the test of defamation, and the defensive punya element. So we have to learn both in order for us to know how to counter. Let's say you end up being a litigation lawyer. You want to take a defamation case for your client to sue somebody else. That you should be able to anticipate what are the things that can be used against you, against your client, the defenses on the coming from the other side. So kita kena jaga both scenario. Okay, learning only one nanti bahaya. Because if the other party try to defend, we don't know what needs to be done. Okay. So looking, you can stop and ask question at any time, yeah, guys. I like people stopping and asking questions. So otherwise, it will be one area atau one mode. I don't like that. Okay. Defamation in Malaysia, as compared to English, we have a specific act that was created by our parliament. This is Malaysian Defamation Act 1957. Okay, which is actually in line, we call it pari materia with English Defamation Act, because what they did was they just cut and paste and try to put it within our independence, because independent countries need all this law to be there whenever they run their own country. So that is the first paragraph. The second paragraph talks about the interest of the particular law. The interest of this particular law being created is actually admission, is to protect the person good name and reputation. So we obviously realize that in our federal constitution there is a freedom of right that is given your is freedom of right given to the society to do whatever they want, under the protection of the law. So we acknowledge that. However, that so-called privilege to talk anything or to say anything about anything is limited. Yeah? It is limited to respect and to protect other people's rights. If you have your rights, you also have a duty. Okay, duty is not to overdo or oversee your rights. The right is only limited to a certain scope. So knowing law of tort is a dynamic law. It is changing form from one. It's just like a molecule. It's not stagnant. It changes its shape. So the law have to be dynamic in protecting other people's rights. So the law meaning the courts to be active. So the parliament have created the law, which is Defamation Act. However, the one that is in guardianship over whether a person act goes beyond his right to say whatever he wants to say, to punish that person if he has gone out of his scope. Yeah. So where that his statement has actually destroy somebody's good name and reputation. Say for example, I say kau perempuan jalang, kau jual badan kau malam-malam dekat jalan sekian-sekian. I saw you. Those are not good. Statement that is not good. You have every right to say whatever you want. You want to comment, but not to the extent that you destroy a good name of a person or reputation of a person. This merely feeling hurt is something that is normal. Whenever you engage in somebody's what do you call it, discussion ataupun fighting with someone else, the tendency is to utter words that might want to have the impact of hurting someone else. Obviously kita kalau kita gaduh kan, you don't be polite. Obviously we are not that type. I think Easterners, we we rarely do that. We are not polite people as compared to Western world. Western world dia tak tahu lah, the way I see it lah. I've not been there, so I have no right to securely say that it is not happening. But if you look at the Western world, they have this nature that they are polite, even though they were engaging into fights. Yeah. Kalau kita ni terover sikit lah, the tendency is to hurt the other person by uttering words that is very hurtful. We choose words that is very very damaging, you know. So just because you are being hurt by somebody else by the words that they say doesn't mean that it falls under defamation. So people have to understand that. Okay, so it does not give you the right, yeah, to award damages under the defamation situation. So okay, so that is the second paragraph. Now saya letak sini, dia kata, however, words meant as entertainment and claimed to have been said in jest should not affect the plaintiff reputation. So macam apa yang budak sekolah yang buat report, kata cikgu sekolah yang cakap buat statement kata very degrading punya statement, right? So but whether that particular situation is defamatory in nature or not, we have to look at the situation. What do you think about the situation budak sekolah tu yang buat statement that the teacher apa yang teacher cakap tu? Tak pandai sangat konsep-konsep ni. My wife was talking about it.
The rape joke.
The rape joke, right? So is it something that is well to be welcome just because you know, is very degrading, you know, very misogyny punya, you know, being male punya dominance, you know. I mean, it is not proper to be said, but whether she can take action under defamation or not, that is another issue that we have to look into, right? But under sexual harassment, I discussed with my wife the other day. The thing is, sexual harassment does mention about the ability of a victim or the person to be affected by the words that is being stated. In this case, obviously, it is to our discussion that we have made, it is considered as sexual harassment, you know, the way I see it. But obviously, it has to be proven in the court of law whether it is really sexual harassment, because you have to be fair to the other person to also defend and saying that it is not. So you say it is yes, the other person will say it is not. But the court to decide, right? But tak patut lah, ya. How can you do that as a professional, as a educator, making that kind of statement, which is very very unwelcome. Tak tahulah you all, ada yang tokoh tambah, you know, and the way I see it very un-Islamic lah. Kalau kita kata kita agama Islam, we are the one that is on the right path, you know. I mean, very very unwelcome punya behavior. Okay, so everything that is happening in the society, we can look it from the perspective of legal, and just because it is something that is being said in terms of entertainment does not mean that it will not be it will not fall under defamation. So it can be something that is obvious when you go into fight with somebody else, you make statement that is very hurtful. Obviously, hurtful means it must be something that is very, very clear for the law of defamation to come in, right? To protect the good name and reputation of a person. But if jokingly, doesn't mean that jokingly you can always do a joking things about ala dia tu, kau tahu tak dia tu kelakar gila, dia tak pernah pergi semayang pun, dia sepatutnya tak tahulah kita nak pergi tanam pun tak tahu kita nak tanam kat mana. I mean, uh, what you're trying to say, you know, it was in a joking manner, but whether it is something that falls under defamation or not. So that is the thing that the law of defamation is trying to do, is to protect the good name and reputation. Question? So we know for the fact that Defamation Act or defamation law is to protect other people's right also. Okay, you have your right, but your rights cannot supersede somebody else or destroy or disrupt somebody else good name and reputation. So kita tengok dalam artis normally they will do this in order for them to get their, what do you call it, dignity back from statement that was made by other people. And politician, I don't know whether the IGP statement recently, whether action can be taken in defamatory or not, whether it falls under defamation or not, is something that has to be proven in the court. Balik every IGP I was talking to my wife just now, every IGP nak resign selalu buat statement is retire lah, I mean retire. Normally they will expose so susah when they were in power, obviously they would be somebody that would just do their job and they become the vehicles of people. Sayang when that is happening in our society. Okay, any input? Tak ada apa-apa? Not yet for the time being Ada tak, guys?
Not yet, sir.
Not yet Okay, alright. So defamation arise when there is a publication. Okay, the key word that you have to remember now, that if you have your notes beside you, you have to highlight publication. If it's not published, then there is no grounds for you to take actions. So publication is one of the elements where this publication have the tendency of lowering the person's reputation and for him to be shunned or avoided by the society, the reasonable portion or persons of the society, just because they heard that. And here is adversely affecting his reputation. How do you know whether it is adverse or not? And you have to prove damages. Okay, if you are the client to sue someone for defamatory action done towards you, if you were to take action against somebody who is you want to sue for defamatory action towards you, so it has to be something that you have to prove in the court of law. It cannot be simply say that it was defamation statement that was made and for you to gain some leverage. There are situations that you have to you don't have to prove damages, but better if your clients, you want to take the case for your clients, better for you to have proof to show that it does affect the reputation of the person. So in terms of what? In terms of evidence by virtue of a reasonable person. Okay, that alone is not enough because you just want to take a reasonable man test into that particular situation is subjective. We want an objective in a situation. So how do you prove objective? You prove by virtue of damages in terms of quantum, of monetary, or monetary lah. Normally we talk about monetary, yeah, because you are claiming from the other person for monetary compensation. So here you're looking at the loss of money or the loss of opportunity, you know, being before or after, yeah, before and after of the statement was made. So before, you might say that you have a business of 20 million, status of 20 million income per year and things like that. But because of the statement, it went down sharply, and you can show to the court that it went from that situation to the worst situation, not because of something else. It is purely on the day of the statement, and immediately after that, you now suffer certain repetition, and maybe in a position that you have lost your income by or status. Yeah, you are being terminated because of that. Yeah, because of the statement that was made towards you. Soalan? Okay.
Nasir,
Yes.
I have a question on publication ni. When we say publication, the way I understood is kita publish lah benda tu, like disiarkan, right? How about it is not published yet tapi dia leak? Contoh like defamatory articles from somebody, it's not published yet tapi somehow it got leaked to the media.
Okay. Say for example, I drafted a nasty words against you, you know, a very defamatory punya. We have yet to learn about what do you mean by defamation words, right? Tapi just imagine that it is a defamatory situation. I put it, in my PC, but PC, not online yet. It is to be published. So what happened if you just said just now, kan? Siapa cakap tadi?
Saya, Eric.
Eric, if you are looking at that situation where it is leaked, mungkin your PC sent to repair, and then the technician open it up and then discover what happened, macam tu. That is your line of questioning, kan?
Yes.
Okay. So is it considered as publication? Yes. It is considered as publication. You know, you don't intend to obviously you don't have that intention, but to the extent that you allow for that particular material to be, open up by somebody else, and you knew that person is going to have access, then when that person came across it, then it is considered as defamatory, which is the rule of defamation itself lah. Publish. Did I answer you, Eric?
Yeah, understood.
Okay, so be careful about the things that you wanted to do. If it's something that is leaked and then it is defamatory punya words, obviously it is considered as published. Okay, so here, defamation by example, Nochaya stated that it is when A tells B either orally or in writing. So publication is either oral or writing. So something that is oral, that is temporary, oral kan, cakap sekarang mungkin lusa dah lupa lah. It is temporary. Oral means it is temporary, and writing, it is permanent. Writing can last thousands of years, kita tengok writings of Aristotle, Plato, those are the things that in writing. So lagi berat lah, so you can take action if you can prove the defamatory words was in writing rather than is oral. Kalau oral pun boleh, it doesn't mean that oral tak dapat compensation, dapat. It's just that the quantum of damages that you are going to get is slightly lesser. Dia kata, writing that C is a dishonest and selfish person who likes to take advantage of those around him. Complication arises in this statement is made to B, as this statement may cause reasonable person to disassociate himself from C's company and therefore adversely affects C's reputation. Okay, so in the examination question just now when I show you that it is something that is being made from one person to about the other company. Remember just now? So kalau kita tengok yang tadi tu kan. Yeah, okay. Merely republish is another issue that we are going to look into. So here it is a statement about somebody else's company, and that statement is not correct, or it's not true. So that is the situation. So what may lead to tendency to lower the person reputation is actually depending on the facts. So here, if you're looking at the facts, the facts is given to you in the exam or when you practice later on, you always do your, what do you call it, identification. You have to facts finding. As a lawyer, you have to get your facts correct because that would be able to strengthen your argument in the court. And I already mentioned about reasonableness, right? How you have to go to convince the court that if a reasonable person were to be in the position of receiving that kind of statement, that person will also conclude that it is defamatory in nature. Yeah, it's going to be impacting his or her status. Okay, for example, a man owes 50 ringgit to a bank is not defamatory. Owing money of true is true for every householder on most days. However, allegation of a businessman is bankrupt. That is a case. This one is 6. We have done in Siong, where the statement was made that he is owing for the bank for sum of 50 ringgit just for the account is not being closed. So he took action against the bank, for uttering that he owes the bank, 50 ringgit, meaning nampak teruk sangat 15 ringgit pun tak ada, so he fails in his action towards the bank. However, as compared to the other one, where we have the situation of a businessman is stated as a bankrupt, is actually prima facie defamatory. On the surface of it, you look at the person that you are talking about. Now we are looking at the facts, kan? So if you're looking at the facts, you look at the nature of a reasonable man outlook towards the fact. Kalau lah kata orang tu orang biasa, 50 ringgit is normal lah. I mean, okay, everyone owes the bank, a certain amount of money, just because you don't close the account book, ada lah amount that you have to pay the bank, right, for closing the account. That is normal. But when it comes to businessmen, obviously that is something that is going to be affecting his reputation because by nature, by default, by prima facie, it is considered as defamatory. Okay, now ni another example, suggestion that professional is acting unprofessionally and unethically and alleging that the man is Miang. So what do you mean by that? So those example, remember guys, kita buat defamation, there is no hard and fast rule, meaning this particular case has been decided earlier of a nature that the court says the decision is not defamation. Doesn't mean that the decision of the court not defamatory is what you call a precedent. Remember, it is not a precedent. It is just the decision of the court based on the facts of the case. Every facts of the case is different. So you guys, you don't worry about, okay, this particular fact is similar to the one that I'm doing right now, so the outcome should be the same. No, it is depending on the facts and how you argue in the court of law. So be careful about that. And I want you to understand now, before we go deeper, that nothing is what it is. Nothing as what it is. It is flexible. It is dynamic. Law of thought is dynamic. It can go either way because there is no section that we can really falls down to. Though we have Defamation Act, but the Defamation Act is just giving the guideline. The actual one that is going to be giving the decision whether it is defamatory or not is the judge. And judge law, as you know from MLS, judge law is just flexible. Is unwritten law. It is nothing to be concerned about, and it is very flexible. So, any question for the introduction? Other. Remember, you can ask any question. Now, let's go into detail. Who can sue, right? So, in this case, obviously, kita guideline is the cases now, yeah. The Berkshire County Council, here the plaintiff, a local authority, brought an action again, publisher as a newspaper. Obviously, you want to have a vicarious liability, 2 editors and 2 journalists, claiming damages for defamatory articles about local authority investment and control in a superannuation fund. So they have their own fund that they need to do management of that money. It was held that the local authority, here public authority and government bodies, had no right to sue for defamation in respect of governing or administrative reputation if no actual financial loss was pleaded or alleged. Meaning, here the court is not not allowing people to take their position, especially when you have organization in terms of local council. So you just cannot utilize your position as a local council or a government agency to sue someone else just because a statement was made towards you, especially when about how you manage your funds. So in this particular situation, they make a statement about the how they mismanage the investment, because the court in this particular case said that actually governmental body, they are open to critics in order for the society, because it is the society's money. By the end of the day, actually their money that they are handling is actually society's money. So the society have every rights to criticize or make comments. If they are unable to claim that they suffered, in terms of financial loss. Nampak dia kata kat sini, if there are no actual financial loss, obviously they cannot successfully win the case. Okay. So basically, if you are later attached to a legal department of an agency, government agency, don't simply say that I want to take action against a statement that was made against us. So as long as you are not if you are not able to prove financial loss, then obviously if you go to court, chances of you winning is very unlikely. Very unlikely for you to win. So obviously, who can sue? Everyone can sue. It's a matter of whether you are going to win. That is the most important thing. You can take action against anyone, obviously, right? But you must make sure before you start taking action against someone else, you have the confidence. You have the evidence and confidence for you to win the case. If you are not, then don't waste your money, don't waste your time, don't waste your energy. So because legal action is something that is quite stressful. It is an action. You can say I've given to my lawyer to do the job, the work, but it is very taxing because time, money, if you are filthy rich, then it maybe you can take action against someone without worrying. But normally people like you and me, when we take action against people, we want our outcome of the case to be on our side. Yeah? So make sure you want to take action against someone, or you want to take your client's cases, you make sure that you have all the tools ataupun all the ammunition for you to utilize in the court of law to win the case. Don't take just for the fun of it. Okay. So coming back, the principle applicable to a business and commercial organization is slightly different because corporation, they can actually show the corporate reputation that they have in terms of things that is damaging. So obviously, company is in a better position to take action against someone else as compared to the government agencies, because government agencies, their duty is to the public, but company are legal person. You learn company as legal person, therefore they have every right to take action against someone else for things that has been done towards them. Okay, here we have cases that is mentioned here, Borneo Post, Nemhat, and another Sarawak Press as a Nemhat. So we have two individuals and some other one other that is mentioned here. It was held that the company may claim for libel, where the libel, we will learn what is libel selepas ni. Concern, just imagine that it is a defamation. Libel concern injuries its reputation in the way of its business. Yeah, especially if the company data can be shown to the court. They have lost projects. They are in a position that they were doing good business. They have incomes of new project, but because of the statement that was made soon after, then they keep on losing, losing all the contracts that they had, ataupun no ability for them to get new contracts. If they can show that, then obviously, yeah. But actually, the court is more favor also to the extent that special damages is not needed. Yeah? Sometimes it is good, as I already mentioned, it's good for you to have evidence. But if you want to claim, obviously, you have every right. It's a balance of probability, right? A balance of evidence. So if you put a reasonable person, company in this particular company's standing, obviously they akan nampak, in terms of that. Okay, the provision in section 6, nanti kita go into detail about which section. Okay, yeah, any question on this?
Sir, Alia here, just to get the my understanding right kan, meaning to say the government tak boleh sue ataupun tak boleh initiate defamatory proceeding, is it, against the public because it is open to public criticism?
Yes, I'm not saying no. I mean, it's a full stop. No, they can take action. As you can see from this particular case, they already taking action against someone. However, what you have to bear in mind that the job scope of government, their responsibility is to the society, as compared to companies. Companies, their existence is for they act as individual, right? Obviously, you learn that from your association one. So that rule, the legal standing of a company is slightly different because they are legal person. Yeah. that is the law. You know, otherwise it doesn't make sense for company to be able to stand. You cannot buy things, you cannot go into contract and things like that. So that, yeah, obviously the government agencies can do that because they are the entity that is being created by law, because they exist. Say for example UITM exists because of the provision under the federal constitution or the act that is empowering them to exist. However, ITM's responsibility is to the government, it's not to the society. Nampak tak? Fokus dia lain because when it comes to company, dia fokus dia untuk survival. Government is not about survival. Government is servicing. Nampak tak? Dia service. So when it comes to service, you have to really show that you suffer significant losses. And if you can do that, you might win the case. You might win the case. Because we cannot allow people to simply make statement, remarks and things like that. Because people have rights to say whatever they want, but not to the extent that they are going to impact someone else. In this case, kalau government agency, bahayalah kan. Tapi the courts punya approach is very relaxed towards government. If you stop people from criticizing the government agencies, then what will happen? There is no check and balance, right? That's it. So jadi
so just to add on a little bit, but then the government is different from the government representative kan, macam MP tu, so they are also subjected to public criticism, but also they can initiate court case for defamatory juga kan, because they
are individuals.
Okay, faham. Okay, thank you sir.
Dia ada position lah dia pegang. So dia ada title of status, title of office of title, office of profit. Office of profit is normally CEO, general manager. Dia office of profit because they are getting remuneration, monetary remuneration. So bukan sama lah dengan MP. MP tak, dia is a status, office of status. Office of status, it does have perks given to them, like pension ke apa ke, allowances, but they are not really there for the money. They are really there for the service that they are to conduct. So, but still, they are persons. They can sue on their person punya capacity. Right. Soalan?
So saya nak tanya.
Good.
Kalau contohlah ada satu bisnes ni, dia expose diri dia lah, dia macam dia buat fashion show tengah-tengah COVID ni. Lepas tu orang komen lah macam kenapa tak ikut SOP, lepas tu orang boycott. Adakah bisnes tu boleh sue orang-orang yang cakap macam tu?
Yang tu kita akan belajar. Kata if it's something that is true, obviously you can take action against the other person, but they can easily come to the court and say that, excuse me, did you do that? Am I lying? I'm not lying, I'm telling the truth. So I mean, for the fun of it, you boleh lah take action against somebody else. But obviously, we are talking about whether you are going to win. If you have really done that fashion show during COVID and there is no SOP, the exposure or expose is actually opening you to summons, by the police or by the authorities for doing things that is not. So if it's true, if it's not going to be defamation in nature.
Okay.
Kan macam Nilofa nak saman orang for people saying bad things about her. So my student kata, I tak faham lah orang sekarang. When they are ni lah kata akhir zaman nak Rasulullah dah cakap lah, kata orang jahat kalau dia buat jahat pun orang kata tak apa, it's okay. She's beautiful, she is famous, she is rich, so she can do whatever she wants. No, The law is clear. When you are doing something that is wrong against the provision of the law, then you are wrong, no matter who you are. Rasulullah cakap macam tu. Kalau anak dia sendiri, kalau siapa dalam family dia buat salah, salah is salah. You know, how can you say that boleh lah, kesian lah dia nak kahwin orang lain? You know, this is something I really don't understand. My student was reacting in the sense that hate crime. Apa pula hate crime? If it is the truth, the thing that she has done, which is against the provision of the law, then there is nothing wrong with it. If you were to make statement about somebody else and you have evidence and credible evidence to show that it is what happened, you know, you nampak ada cerita, ada gambar that is showing that she is having that particular session of wedding, and you have more than the number of people, just because you have the Menteri Agama to be there, you are protected in a way. She's intelligent in that sense, you know, trying to get someone in. So anyone who wants to take action, you know, that is very, very intelligent, but in a very bad situation. Come on, man. I mean, law is law, you know. Kadang-kadang me and my wife, kadang-kadang kita rasa macam not worth of us to teach law, because people left and right, up and down, you know, front and back, semua ada breach the law and nothing happens to them. Kita ni rasa macam duk ajar benda yang sia-sia. My wife said just now, sia-sia. You know, it is worthless. If you were to be the champion of justice, you're trying to change people perspective, but yet things that is happening in our society, so sad. Yeah, but still it doesn't stop us from learning, right? So learning is something, practice is different. However, in the law of tort here that we are doing, we are referring to cases that has been decided by the court. So taklah banyak sangat kita punya frustration tu lah. Ya, frustration kita nampak how it is the situation when you take action against someone in the court of law. Boleh nampak guys? Ya, kita tak masuk detail lagi. Kita nak belajar test. What is the test that is being used by the court in order for the court to identify whether it is defamatory or not? Ni kita on the issue of who can sue, who can be sued, you know, things like that. Okay. Second is who can you sue? Who can be sued? You know, the author of the defamatory words should be party sued, because the author, we are looking at the author, the one that is creating. However, anyone that is involved in the extension of the defamatory words can also be sued. Meaning, you can sue someone yang originator of that particular defamatory punya words, and on top of that, those people yang tali barut lah ataupun the continuation of that so-called defamatory. So whenever Al-Quran kata you have to check whatever information that was given to you before you pass around, this is in line with that. Okay, ini in line with maqasid syariah lah. Kalau kita tengok, saya tak faham kenapa Islamic laws is slightly is viewed as different from Western law. We look at the mission of the law itself. If the mission of the law is to protect society in terms of the requirement of religion, in terms of every Western law is actually, we can look at it as ataupun Western law yang to promote goodness is considered as Islamic law. For me lah, I would say that. Okay, kita mission of it. As compared to hudud, obviously, there are certain differences that we have to look into. So, who can be sued? We can sue the person who started it and the one that is continuing with it. So, kalau lah yang started it with a person yang not worth for you to sue because he or she doesn't have money, so you sue the one that continue the defamatory act. If anak Tan Sri, ataupun anak multi company atau a rich company punya a person, then you can sue that person. Why? Because it is worthwhile. Kalau kita saman, make sure that we are going to get what we want. If you get a judgment from the court and saying that, okay, pay that compensation 500,000, yeah, you won, tapi you want that money, right? You don't want to get from a person yang tak boleh bayar. So you can, dia kata, yeah, I lost, I have to pay you 500,000, I don't have money. So you just want to you want that money, right? Obviously, alang-alang nak saman orang, you want that money. You don't want to get that person kata, sorry, 500,000, yes, you can bankrupt that person, obviously, right? But is it worthwhile? Dia kata marah punya pasal padan muka dia. That was happen. That is what happened dekat the opposition of the Singaporean punya ni, JB Jayaratnam. They purposely made him bankrupt in order for him not to be able to go into politics, and he is out of job, and eventually he has to write and sell books, to survive. So you can be in that position if you really want to hit that person to the extent that he is learning his action, learning his lesson, then obviously you can do that. But we want to sue someone that is able to give you compensation. You don't want, you jangan jadi macam pada muka kau dah bankrupt, rasa kan, yeah, in a way is teaching a person a lesson, tapi we want to be on the other two way of looking into things. So better get the benefit, money that is coming in, and then minta dia buat statement in the newspaper saying saya minta maaf for the things that I've done. You can ask that from the court on top of the money, right? So so you can also here dia kata kat sini, you can include publisher, editor, journalist and printer. So anyone that is involved in that particular defamatory punya act, you can take them to court. So meaning you just cannot, as you learn from MLS, you cannot simply kata hari ni ambil action dengan A for the act of defamation and then esok ambil against B for. It is a waste of resources, and obviously what you have to do is to take all of them into one particular case in order for you to decide, because the court will not entertain because of the situation of repeated punya ni lah. Right, so that is people who can sue, you can sue. Types of defamation, there will be two types of defamation. Now we are going into details. So one is libel and the other is slander. What is libel? Okay, libel is a tort as well as a crime, whether slander is only a tort and not a crime. It is, however, in Malaysia, libel and slander are torts and crime, because in England it's slightly different because they see it differently. However, in Malaysia, it is something that is very clear that libel and slander is considered as crimes. So you can take civil action and also make a police report for actions to be taken under criminal law. Coming back, what is libel then? Libel is considered as anything that is being made in terms of permanent, permanent nature. So what does permanent means? Normally that is visible to eye in terms of writing, where it can be emails, pictures, effigies, buat kartun, kartun kalau Lat dia famous for effigies yang dia buat tentang people of famous people, nampak muka dia orang, kita tengok muka pun kita tahu siapa, and then here under section 3 of the Defamation Act provide that broadcasting of words by means of radio communication shall be treated as publication in permanent form, because broadcasting kalaulah kata dia cakap dalam TV kan, but cakap dalam TV is considered as also permanent. Why? Because they broadcast. Broadcast is something that is recorded. Kalau recorded, and obviously it is a written permanent form. So kalau you tengok dalam library, you can go to archive, you can go into fish disk, kita panggil, I think fish disk. Can't remember the exact term. You boleh scan through the paper and videos nowadays. They have archive for videos, or especially kalau you tengok dalam YouTube, 10 years ago punya video of TV punya recording pun ada, So libel is actionable per se. You don't have to say that you have to prove first. It is actionable per se. So you can go to the court and prove that there is a libel situation, and you don't have to prove any damages. So it is something of a nature that, say, for example, I kata, as I already mentioned tadi, you perempuan jalang, you jual diri you and things like that. So that is considered as kalau I tulis lah, that is considered as permanent. So you don't need to put damages. Tapi ada slightly different in that manner. So this is because the law presumes that the person's reputation is affiliated. So some damage must result. Obviously, bila orang yang permanent form, dan memang orang siapa yang tak nampak pun akan nampak, because they are now able to read. Second is slander. Slander is temporary or transient form from one form to another, right? That is temporary in nature. So normally it is being made by words and gestures. Gesture tu macam mana? So kita tengok the facts lah. Slander is not actionable per se. You have to prove actual or specific special damages. So what do you mean by actual rather than special? Here is we are looking at the special being something that is real, something that is able for you to prove to the court in terms of monetary value or monetary position that you hold, things that it is clear, ataupun if you can show that people doesn't want, kalau you tunjuk dalam Facebook just because that particular defamatory statement was made against you, and then the number of followers went down drastically immediately after that, then is actually actual lah. There is evidence that you can prove to the court, saying that tapi kalau because of that the number of followers makin naik, then too bad lah, you cannot use that in the court of law. So actual damages refers to actual financial loss. It can be measured in terms of monetary terms. So kalau lah kata Facebook you went down, you are in the business of selling product, and then you can use that as evidence. Though you cannot know to what extent the income, it's quite difficult for you to have a, apa orang kata, dalam Facebook kan kita tak ada proper setup syarikat kan, jadi kita tak ada financial loss, P&L, profit and loss statement. So as long as you are able to show that people doesn't want to follow you and people do not buy your product as before, then it's good enough that you can show to the court. Okay, dia kata kat sini, in contrast, loss of business and employment or even change of attend a dinner may be calculated as monetary terms and therefore constitute actual damage. You can utilize whatever situation or facts that is evidential that you can prove. So if you have a client that wants to take action under slander, right? Under slander, so you know that it is temporary in nature. What you have to advise is where are the evidence? Okay, well, show me the money. So if that person can show you the money, or the situation whereby it will translate as a loss of money, then should be good lah. Okay, loss of opportunity, loss of employment, loss of contract, tapi doesn't mean that it has to be actual. Tapi as I already mentioned, kalau Facebook punya number followers 100,000, it went down to 20,000, 80,000 went off immediately after the defamatory punya statement, then obviously it will be translated into loss of income, you know, if you are in the business punya environment lah. Tapi kalau you are there untuk orang kata untuk saja-saja for fun, you cannot translate that towards money. Okay, inaction of slander, plaintiff must prove actual words used. So kalau lah kata orang tu cakap dekat you, if you don't have evidence, your words against the other person punya words. So obviously the court will not be able to entertain you, yeah, your statement. You must be able to prove to the court, yeah, that the actual words did it was uttered ataupun did mention or did happen. So macam mana nak buat tu? Normally people will have recording lah. Yeah, you must, if you know the session that you're going to be in a manner that you cannot prove in terms of libel, then if it's in slander, in words, right? So have your recording, have your video or voice recording in order for you to, what do you call it, take it as evidence. My advice is whenever you face a certain situation, and just to get yourself some evidence, obviously you have to press record lah. Okay, kalau telephone conversation that you feel that is going to end up nasty, then you will kadang-kadang orang perangkap ni orang use this as a means for them to take legal action. That is intelligent of you lah to do that. Tapi kita evidence lah. What I'm trying to say is that you have to have evidence. Yeah, actual words must be proven in the court of law. Otherwise, the court will not take your case seriously. Obviously, you're going to lose. Yeah, and the counter claim can happen. The other person can sue you for things that you know, for defamatory, you know, taking action against someone. You think you are the only one can take action against someone. Someone else can also counter and claim, counterclaim and saying that you defame them by taking them to court. Okay, kalau kita tengok kat sini apa yang saya letak ni, I remember. Okay, okay, in Rainy Bravo, the defendant writing does not exist. The secondary evidence is offered in content. The words must be proof and not what witness to be the substance or effect. Because you cannot have witnesses in the sense that hearsay lah. Kalau witnesses, dia akan jadi hearsay. Hearsay is a second person. It must be something that is credible. Kalau you jadi hakim pun, orang dia bawa witnesses is not good enough, because you want to have primary evidence. Yeah, primary evidence is something that is recorded. Itu pun doubtful whether it is tempered or not. But if it is video, kan, kalau recording suara, kita tak tahu siapa yang cakap tu betul ke dia, you know. But kalau video, it is clear, it is not tempered, tak ada IA punya sumpah impose, then maybe you have a good case. But if witnesses ada, courts takkan tengok. Yeah, witnesses is considered as hearsay. Right. Kalau lah kata dalam bahasa lain, yeah, we have Workers' Party anti Buntu. Yeah, here the court held that slander alleged must be set out in the statement of claim in Hokkien, precisely as spoken as that was the language in which the slander was uttered, followed by a literal translation in English language. It is equally insufficient to set out the translation without citing the original words, and vice versa. Maksudnya, if you are referring to the words that is being used for that particular clan ataupun for that particular race, so it can be deciphered differently, you know. So it has to be the original. Yeah, if Hokkien in this particular case is Hokkien ataupun Hakka ataupun bahasa apa orang Indonesia panggil apa bahasa apa orang panggil dalam bahasa orang Indonesia ni yang kita Malaysian pakai bahasa apa orang apa orang Indonesia
Bahasa Jawa.
Bahasa Jawa kan. So bahasa Jawa is something that has to be precisely interpreted. Yeah, because bila dia translate dia akan jadi benda yang lain lagi. Yeah, it has to be something that is kena literal punya interpretation. Bukannya benda yang kalau lah kata dia interpret dia jadi lain. Okay? So that is the situation lah. In Lynch and Knight, dia kata court held that to make works actionable by reason of special damages, the consequence must be such as taking human nature as it is. The consequence tu kita kena tengok. With regard to relationship between parties concerned, it is fairly and reasonably anticipated to follow the speaking of the language. So kalau kita whatever things that is being uttered, kita ambil in verbatim, kita panggil in verbatim, you know, word for word. So kalau lah kata word for word tu you kena exact. Tak boleh kata you interpret it as differently, habis. You know, it has to be something that is in verbatim. So in verbatim macam mana? Oh, you kena, the burden of proof is for you, the one that is taking action against the person who uttered defamatory words must have evidence. Okay. It must be also that has been foreseeable. It's something that is foreseeable. You learn that dalam law of torts 1 kan, doctrine of ataupun neighborhood principle. Yeah, neighborhood principle, neighbor principle is something that you can foresee, yeah, and it's nothing that is too remote. Okay, ingat tak kita belajar duty, breach and damage. Damage is foreseeable and not too remote. Okay. Banyak elemen yang kena ada because these are the things yang kita kena take into consideration. This is just giving you some bird's eye view in order for you to do your examination question or practice later on when you a lawyer, inshallah. Yeah? So, or you want to take action against somebody else, and you want to go to the lawyer of your choice, you make sure that the lawyer knows that you know about the defamation. Okay, in one thing that you want, I already experienced it, which I advise my brother in order for him to take action against someone, against a company. He is an individual, he wants to take action against the company. My advice is that you have to equip yourself with all the legal knowledge, even though he is an engineer, but I push him into getting him to understand the law. Once you understand the law, obviously you are able to pressure the solicitor or the lawyer of your choice to tell the lawyer, I know the law. Okay, so you, even though you might not be wanting to be a lawyer later on, these are the information that if you want to take action against someone, you want this information to be transferred to the lawyer, and the lawyer is going to take you seriously. Kadang-kadang lawyer ni dia buat business lah. I mean, so many clients yang dia ada untuk nak jaga. So you are just a client. So you think your case is good. Your case is important to you because this is your case. You are paying money. But you remember, for the lawyer, you just an account. You know, you are just an account. So make sure the lawyer understand that you know the law, because they are afraid of professional negligence. If you can show to them that I know the law, then they are very, very careful of what they are doing. So your case is going to be seriously taken by the judge. By the lawyer. And this is just orang kata tazkirah puasa lah. So ingat kita nak saman orang, make sure orang tu kena boleh bayar. Jangan pergi saman puas hati aku. No, you are wasting your money. Because at the end of the day, lawyer akan cari you. You have to pay a certain amount of money that obviously the court akan bagi the losers akan kena bayar, tapi but still there are monies that you have to pay. So make sure it is a profit endeavor, ya, ataupun satu kerja yang mendatangkan duit, ya. And then second, make sure that you are able to win, ya, in terms of the evidence that you have. Question? Kalau tak nak ambil pun, you boleh lawan dengan orang, bagi pressure to the lawyer. Lawyer ni dia biasalah cari makan lah kan, you know. I lost my case with Maybank. You know, I lost 5,000 of my hard-earned money because my lawyer did not do a good job. Yeah, so thinking that the relationship that you have with this lawyer, just because the friends of someone that is close to you, then you never oversee that. You know, you were thinking that it was taken as a serious matter, but it turns out the other way around. I learned my lesson, so I'm actually telling you guys, be careful and make sure if you are able to engage a lawyer and the lawyer understand that you know the law. Okay. Right, exception to the requirement of actual damage, there would be a situation here. You don't have to prove. This is where I said just now. You don't have to prove that there is a situation of damage, ya, when it comes to slander. You know, macam I kata tadi, perempuan jalang lah itu. Those are slander, the exception to the slander thing. Slander by default you kena ada proof. However, slander to woman, you don't have to. The person doesn't have to prove damages. Okay, so slander to woman, telling that the other person is a prostitute, you know, that is considered as slander to woman. Obviously, words also by nature can be in pictures, visual images, gestures, and things like that. Can also in that manner. As long as it is slander to woman, then obviously that actionable per se. Yeah, you don't have to prove actual damages. Yeah. So slander in relation to professional person of professional in business reputation. Slander, ingat cakap-cakap mulut yang berkenaan dengan person punya professional status and business reputation. Boleh. Ya, section 5 kata any words that is calculated to destroy a person position in office or profession or calling or trade or businesses, then therefore it will be considered as publication and there is no need for special damages. That is provision under section 5. So in the exam, kalau lah kata you have a defamation punya question, obviously the act also plays a role. You don't have to quote in verbatim of the provision of the act, right? Tetapi you have to, you know, give your own summarize of that particular section. So section 3, section 5, you know, would be the one that you want to quote, yeah, in the exam, other than the cases. Okay. Okay, kita tengok facts lah. All these cases that is being presented dalam nocaya is talking about the facts. Yeah, the facts of the case. It will be the situation whether that person is able to utilize slander, yeah, in terms of reputation. What do you mean by professional and business reputation? Yeah, kat sini dah ada dia punya interpretation, office, profession, calling, and sometimes when it comes to macam ni, dia kata John Tan Cho Yong and Lee Che Tian. Okay, here advocates and solicitor claim that the defendant words to the plaintiff friends and clients to be affected that he, the plaintiff, was owing him the defendant several months rent. Okay, here the key word here is rent, where defamation as the words were calculated to disparage him of his office. You know, they apply section 5, you know, holding that the plaintiff was actionable per se without proof of special damages. Okay, but it was stated here that will be considered as, in short, it is unnecessary to allege special damages, even though the words were spoken to the plaintiff as to affect him in his profession. So, nampak tak? As a person that is in reputation of a person, in this case, plaintiff who is the advocate and solicitor. Maksudnya advocate and solicitor apa kena mengena dengan rent? Okay, apa kena mengena dengan rent? Rent lah. Rent is rent lah. That is any individual, normal individual people would be in the position that they owe people rent kan. But if you were lying and telling lies about a person, whenever they are in a position that they shows the credibility of their integrity, you know, rent pun tak boleh bayar, macam mana you nak jadi lawyer you know, people that that reasonable man, you know, test will apply whenever you dengar lawyer tu tak bayar duit rumah dia, you nak ambil tak lawyer tu? Obviously you takkan, right? Because nampak tak, it can be interpreted in that, yeah. So di sini the keyword that you have to read whenever you reading the Nocaya, dia tengok dia punya status, yeah. The subject matter is about what do you mean by person, profession, trade or businesses. The interpretation is going to be. Ni yang case yang JB Jayaratnam, Bocok Tong punya ni case. Okay. Dia ni kata Office of Profit and Office of Honor. Sorry ya, my tadi status sama jugalah, Office of Honor. So it depending on the court whether they can distinguish whether that particular person is Office of Profit or Office of Honor. Okay, so kalau Office of Profit is small, yeah, as compared to Office of Honor. Right, question so far. So dah ada dua. Slander, ingat, slander is by words, right? However, when it comes to words, you can prove words to actual that is being uttered. You ada proof, ada evidence. However, you kena juga tambah dengan evidence. So you boleh buat formula dah sekarang, ya. So kalau lah kata defamation equals to slander, maksudnya you kena slander equals to what? Apa formula yang you boleh buat dalam fikirannya?
Slander equals to damage.
Ya, mesti ada damage and must be proven. Kan? Sebab dia slander kan, cakap mulut kan. Macam you nak proof. So the court first akan tengok apa buktikan kat saya. So kalau you kata dia cakap macam ni dekat saya, no, it's not enough. It has to be evidence. So and on top of that, you kena prove actual damages. Ya, mesti ada some credible examples ataupun credible situation or evidences ataupun some evidence lah, ya, credible evidence showing that it is something of financial losses ataupun status punya losses. So boleh nampak yang tu, tapi slander is actionable per se, ya, macam juga libel apabila dia ada involve exception, ya. Exception number one is slander to women, ya. You kata women have to be protected because they are victims in our society, ya. And then orang lelaki kata kau tak ada dara lah, you know, you are trying to imply that that he had already sexual intercourse without marriage, obviously. Tapi orang lelaki dia akan nampak kata, oh, I'm very proud, I have experience in love making. But orang perempuan dia lain, you know, whenever you say something that is in the nature that dia dah ditebuk tupai ke apa ke, that degrades a woman to the extent that she might not be a potential wife. You know, orang perempuan dia tak kisah sangat, lelaki tu dia jenis playing around, tidur dengan orang perempuan. Tapi orang perempuan ni lain. Nampak tak? Society kita ni beza, pelik. Di mana lelaki boleh buat tapi perempuan tak boleh buat. So bila perempuan buat, macam-macam jadi. So this is where the law will come in to protect the woman. You know, that society punya nature dah memang kita, perangai kita dah macam tu. We are very biased in our perspective. Okay, boleh nampak yang tu. So the first one is slander to woman, second is slander to the person position of income, and then the third one is the position slander in relation to title, slander to goods, slander to goods boleh, memang boleh, you kata jangan beli produk tu akan mendatangkan cancer, which you are just making a statement or flying remarks that have the impact towards somebody else punya selling of their goods. Ini malicious falsehood, memang saja ada niat. If you can prove that the person memang ada niat jahat, normally people make statements. Normally it's quite difficult for us to prove that that person have malicious intention. Tapi kalau you can prove ada evidence yang recorded, kata dia jaga dia, aku akan buat cerita di mana dia akan merana disebabkan aku punya apa yang aku akan buat. If you were to have that, then it would be better, obviously, in terms of your case in court. You don't have to prove damages, you can prove only that. So section concerned, section 6, saying that the slander of title, slander of goods, and malicious falsehood. Obviously, you don't need to prove special damages. Okay, if the words itself is actually aiming towards pecuniary damages, meaning dia nak buat tu dengan semata-mata untuk merosakkan seseorang dari segi income yang orang tu akan dapat, ataupun the ability to gain some amount of business opportunity. So itu adalah something that is considered as permanent in nature. Okay, word is calculated to cause pecuniary damages in respect of office, profession, calling. Kita ni bekerja, kita untuk mendapat gaji kita dapat status. Dengan status datangnya imbuhan. Kan, kita belajar ni, buat law ni, kadang-kadang to some of you, you want to go up the ladder of management in order for you to secure a job, a better job. So if we were to have people who tarnish your position of katalah you dah jadi CEO, the one that you are able to go up after CEO, tak ada apa-apa lah, CEO je lah, CEO is the highest. So kalaulah kata anyone attack CEO status of you, obviously it's very difficult for you to go and be CEO of another company. Okay, so that is obvious. So the court will go and protect your position. Kesian, because people of office, they secure that in order for them to gain some position. Okay, my wife was telling me about Berjaya, the person yang Mahathir appointed hari tu. Siapa nama dia? Yang Berjaya tu.
Jalil Rashid.
Jalil lah. Jalil punya position tu kalau betul dia by right dia boleh saman lah, tapi he knows that he was lying, and kalau tidak he has a good case, because benda tu, lepas benda tu dia dah tak kerja lama, dia nasib baik lah dapat dengan Berjaya, tapi but still yalah, dia jadi scapegoat lah untuk Berjaya to have a bumi directors and things like that. Ada ke buat galakkan orang berhutang lagi? Berapa tahun dia nak suruh hutang untuk buat rumah?
60.
60 ya Allah. Saya kalau kontrak saya ambil rumah ni 300, we bought the house for 350,000 for 25 years. The contract, bila I tengok contract, is 1.02 million that I have to pay back. You took 350,000 punya loan, you have to pay back 1.02 million. Oh my God. Now I'm telling my case, when I saw my agreement, I was like, what a waste of money. Tapi nak buat macam mana? You don't have that amount of money to buy houses. The thing that you guys have to do is to eliminate, to go to the extent of reducing the exposure of the society if you become somebody leader of the society later in life. Try to think about how to ease their burden, not to extend. To my interpretation is to extend the liability, yeah, of a person. Umur 60, I saw this guy on the bus, going. Last time I did part time before joining ITM. So I saw this particular person, my colleagues dekat that institute, and he is like 60 over. Dia kata, I have to ask you. I'm the person yang kadang-kadang my wife pun menyampah, because I stop people and ask I ask question yang memang kata that is very personal, but I ask him, why you have to work? You are already 60 over. What makes you have to work? I need to know, because I think it is not fair for you to come to work. You should be staying at home, and enjoying your years that you have in your life. But he said that too bad, I have to. He said I have to. Pasal apa I have to? Because I have commitments. Things that is happening in our society, kadang-kadang rasa macam frust. People are asking, kita tengok orang yang minta sedekah semua orang Melayu. Kebanyakan lah, 99.9% semua orang Melayu. Sedih Melayu Islam lah. I mean, how bad is our religion? They portray the religion is not something that is worthwhile to look at. No wonder people try to run away from becoming a Muslim, even though the things that is promoted in the religion is good. But why? Why it is happening like that? Because budaya meminta is something that is being abused. People wants to buat the way I see it lah. People wants to buat amal, tetapi amal tu sebenarnya tak perlu ada in the first place. Macam nak buat masjid. Buat masjid, ada keperluan ke nak buat masjid? Kalau ada keperluan, then only then you ask. Kalau lah kata simply for nak buat masjid and then left it bare and nobody is going to utilize it, I mean it defeats the purpose. So macam ni lah, nak buat extension of people to pay to extend their housing punya commitment and things like that. Kalau lah kata fix, kalau dia kata okay, kalau you ambil 10 tahun pun sama, 30 tahun pun sama, the rate of profit sama je. The rate of profit untuk 10 tahun atau 20 tahun atau 30 tahun sama. Kalau you ambil 60 tahun pun sama. Okay, it's just 300,000 punya house, you have to pay back 600,000. So 600,000 is to be divided into 10, 20 or 40 or 60 years old. Up to you, the same thing. 600,000 divided by 60 years or 600,000 divided by 10 years, they are going to be the same. Macam tu seronok lah, in a way lah kan. But the way I want to say is that try not to jangan guys, you are still young. Some of you are still young. Obviously all of you I think are still young, so don't expose to that. That is not good. We see countries in Thailand, Middle East, kadang-kadang kita tengok Pakistan, India, they rarely take loans. Indonesia even, the bank's exposure is very minimal. Kita ni galak orang berhutang. Alright. Okay, I think that is the what do you call it? For slander, exception for the slander. Any questions? Ada? Tak ada?
Sir.
Yes.
Sorry. Yang slander to goods tu, does it also apply the same to services?
Yes, it's considered as services also. Because it relates to money, right? Why You jangan ambil servis dia. Dia tu buat kerja tak betul. Chemical dia pakai untuk cuci punya pejabat akan menyebabkan kanser. So it is not a product but services. So services pun macam is something that is in line of with that. Soalan lagi? Malice, this is malice, falsehood, malice. If you can prove that, right? So ini the keyword here is proof. Kalau you nak kata niat jahat, what do you mean by niat jahat? You must be able to have that to prove in a court of law. Then slander tu akan jadi terus actionable per se. You don't need to prove damages. That is a simple way of claiming. Sebab burden of proving damages tu it takes dia akan kena attack. Sebab you kata you have losses suffered from the defamatory words. Tapi that losses maybe you can show, but it can be open for attack by the defending solicitor, right? The defendant will take the opportunity of your data to say that your data is not right. Susah. So better be in a position that you don't have to prove anything by default. By default, just prove that it is defamatory, then you can easily win the case. So moral of the story is to make sure that your client ataupun yourself to be in a position that you utilize the exception to the slander, because he nak ambil jalan shortcut. Next, kita tengok imputation of contagious disease. Dia tu ada COVID tu. Why dia tak ada COVID? He went to the hospital because of something else. But you say something that is not true, and that falls under contagious disease, diseases. So kalau ada AIDS, kalau ada dia ni ada sopak, ada kusta, jangan dekat. Habis memang siapa yang nak dekat dengan orang kusta kan? Because in religion pun kita have to avoid contagious disease. And then imputation of crime, here it is a situation that you are trying to put someone in the position that they are committing corporal punishment, ataupun they are in a manner of doing something that is ada punishment in terms of criminal law that we have in our country. Case in question, C. Sivanathan and Abdullah bin Datuk Haji Abdul Rahman. The defendant called the plaintiff a cheat, dishonor, and liar. The court held that since the crime did not attract corporal punishment, the plaintiff claim was not actionable per se. Nampak tak? Cheat, dishonor, and liar. So it does not fall under the criminal act. In terms of cheating, you can say that, but the evidence mungkin in that particular case the evidence was not good enough to show that it is to that extent. Alright, so kalau tak ada, that is the overall before we go into the test. Now we are looking at how to establish the test. Jadi hak yang atas ni tak penting ke? Penting, in terms of before we identify. Dalam exam, obviously everything yang kita belajar ni, you are not expected to give everything word for word. It is not, you have to remember when it comes to the question, katalah nak jawab soalan ni kan, right? This question does not ask you to give back everything that I have gone through with you today. Okay, jangan buat that mistake. Most of the student, whenever they are answering examination question, chances are they cut and paste. So dia akan cerita habis, might as well bagi buku Nacaya, this is my answer, carilah kat dalam tu. We don't want that. We want your application of the law rather than the law. We know not by now you have learned the law. I already taught you about defamation. So I don't want you to repeat and tell me, hey, excuse me, Encik Aris, law of defamation is like this. No? One, this libel, slander, case in question of libel, slander, actionable per se. I don't want a lecture in the examination or the document of lecture to be represented or reproduced in exam. It doesn't make any apa kata significance. Tak ada apa-apa. You are not getting marks for that. Okay, you are expected to know the law, meaning what are slander, what are libel, exception. Jangan bagi exception, semua exception. No, it is a waste of time. Kita nak you apply to the problem. If the problem relates to the exception of slander, then why not? Then you can easily take that as your so you hear what I'm trying to say is that kalau lah kata benda tu ada relationship to slander to woman, then you talk about slander to woman, that's it. You don't have to go into the other exception yang ada in order for you to show that you are intelligent, that you know the law. It is not about that. It is about you knowing what law to apply to the problem that is given in exam or in real life. So janganlah pergi kat court dia kata Tuan Hakim tahu tak Defamation Act ni dia dengan defamation dia berkenaan dengan defamation to protect the person's punya reputation and stature, trying to tell the judge about dia kena baling file dia kata you are trying to teach me or what, you know. So you give some indication of the things that you want to talk and go into the application straight away. So this is one of the I think this is the question that I want to give you for your assignment 1. Okay, I think we have to give assignment dah. I need you to this one is your assignment lah. Yeah, this is your assignment that you are going to prepare in groups. I think kita dah formulate groups kan? Ada tak? Did we formulate groups before? Oh, tak ada lagi. Right, you have to formulate groups. Kita ada berapa orang? 22 orang. I think, that is why I want to ask. Sekejap I already open. Talks to groups. Kita 2 AX
Yes, sir. AX.
2 AX kita ada berapa orang? How many? 23. Alright. So kita ada 23 people. So 23 divide by over 3. 3 bagi 23 berapa? 23 bagi 3. 7. Masya Allah, tak boleh. 7 grup. 7 grup. 7 kali 3.
21, sir.
7, 14, 21. Ada 2 grup yang terlebih dia 4. Jadi 4 ada 2 grup 4. Siapa cuk dulu by listing down lah dekat dalam ni. Siapa yang ada 2 grup saja yang ada 4, the rest ada 3. So you arrange within yourself to formulate the groups. Yeah, I want it to be in the form of macam ni lah. Kita ambil contoh. Okay. Sorry, my PC ni lembab. You know what I'm trying to say, right? So buatlah betul-betul. So you can do that. Bagus. Tapi buat. Oh, pandai dia, laju. Okay, the rest semua 3. The rest maksudnya tinggal lagi 4. 4. Kita ada 7 kan? Apa tadi? Calculate. So 4 times 2, 8 tolak 32. 23. 23 orang kan? Tolak 23. 15 bagi
5.
5. So 7 grup. So 5 grup lagi So bila submit? Lagi 2 minggu. Boleh? Lagi 2 minggu. I want you to be answering it in a manner that approach by today insyaAllah habis kita punya defamation Any question on the assignment? Saya akan masukkan dalam assignment saya buat tulis assignment. Any questions for while I'm doing this? Submission bila?
Submission.
Submission sana. Hari ni kedua 250. Select date 18-15 15 bulan pukul 11.55 malam. Send announcement, group marking. Let me see, group assignment. Dan P8 silap 2012. PLK 2X kita punya. Betul?
Yes, sir.
Soalan. Okey. Dan yang ni 20 markah. Choose file. Right. Dan so assignment ni what you will do kalau yang dalam group tadi ni, right? Seorang yang akan submit I think by now you all dah familiar of the submission for you future. Kalau you nak submit, make sure only one person per group you submit and then you attach your fellow members Jangan pula yang ada yang pergi buat submission dia seorang tapi dia tak represent their friends. So it has to be somebody, it has to be a group. Okay, tak tahu macam mana you punya interface macam mana, but you must remember that whenever seorang submit tu, jangan submit dia sahaja, dia submit as a group. Jadi nama member-member kena masuk dalam group. I have example. Nanti you buatlah pandai-pandai. Okay, so okay, done. So ramai dah ada buat ni. Okay, good, nice. Nanti siapa yang towards the end last tu buatlah ni copy ni, copy kan jadi satu sheet. Nanti macam ni berpecah kan, kita tak ada. Right, any questions so far?
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, good. Soalan.
It's,
Siapa?
asking a question.
Yes.
Considered defamation.
Yes, please.
No, my question is asking a question. Considered a defamation. Because sometimes dia tanya soalan tapi bertujuan untuk fitnah.
Suara you putus-putus lah. Sorry.
Hello.
Macam mana Ahmad? You nak tulis
No, my question is, can you hear me?
Yeah, okay.
Is asking a question considered a defamation?
Oh, asking a question is not. It's not. It is a question. It is not a statement. You know, asking whether you are involved in that particular crime. You know, it is not a statement. It is not accusation. It is not accusation. It's an inquiry. So the interpretation is different in terms of it's a question mark and exclamation mark. Two different thing kan. Jadi kalau Kalau insinuating, it depends on the court interpretation lah, whether that particular statement is actually defamatory. But normally, by default, obviously it is an inquiry. You know, you ada you ni prostitute ke? You know, that is a question rather than making a statement. You ni seorang pelacur. I dah tahu you memang perangai macam tu. That is attacking mode kan. It's trying to defame. Question is just a question. It depends. Yeah? Kalau my wife tanya, kalau you pelacur depan orang ramai, that is what. Okay, that is good. Kalau lah kata kita tanya soalan tu, not one to one, in the public, what is your intention? You rasa macam mana? You all rasa macam mana?
One to one, not in public.
In public, in front of family members ke, in front of strangers ke.
But it was a question.
It was a question. You ni pelacur ke?
Kena tengok intention juga, sir.
Tengok intention. So, what a reasonable person? You are all reasonable person. That is going to be a standard that is being used, you know, in a court of law. You rasa macam mana kalau orang tanya you sebagai perempuan lah?
Okay, because of that word pelacur is very
taboo,
and then it's automatically people will think it's something bad, right? So I would say trying to put a shame or something like that, because the person
you are putting sorry Zaida, Zaida,
yep.
You are putting yourself as thinking of somebody else. You kena benda tu, you rasa macam mana?
I will feel that the person who asking that question will try to malukan I lah, sebab dia ada option untuk tanya personally.
Okay, girls yang dalam kelas mana? Siapa lagi girls yang dalam kelas?
Agree dengan Zaida.
Zaida, agree. Lagi? Siapa yang lain? Yang lain macam mana? Masih ada kat sini. Alia, siapa lagi?
I think kalau macam soalan ni tu is trying to defame because yelah, is trying to defame. Because it depends on the intention of himself and why the person asks in front of everyone, like is giving an impression to others, like for others to assume is she really a prostitute macam tu. So in other words,
sorry.
bila that person try to macam letakkan persoalan tu, so ibarat ni macam dia try untuk defame lah.
Betul. Memang ada intention lah kan? Yeah, I would say semua orang Zaini, macam mana?
Yeah, so I would agree with Zaida tadi tu lah. The word pelacur, even though you are joking, katalah dekat kedai mamak kan, we are hanging out with friends, ada female friends, even though we are joking, we are saying something, kau ni pelacur ke? I think it's not appropriate lah in our culture, and I think it should be slander to women lah, even though it's joking,
Yeah, betul. I do agree, because when it comes to statement that is being made in public, obviously, right? So in a way, it is considered as defamation. Why? Because defamation yang kita akan masuk ni, the requirement of the test, how do you know whether the thing is defamation or not? Because kita akan tengok the elements, the element of defamation. So dia ada tiga. Basically, the words is defamatory, it is published, and the third person that is hearing it. Here they are three macam ni. Words are defamatory, words refer to the plaintiff, and the words has been published. Published means somebody else, the third person that is hearing it. If you are two people that is hearing, you tengah berkelahi ataupun bercakap antara satu sama lain, tak ada third party, then there is no defamation.
Sir, I have question to ask. Macam tadi kan, contoh yang kita guna tadi adalah perkataan are you a prostitute? So macam tadi apa ni? Kejap. So macam tadi kan I mean classmate cakap the word prostitute itself is a taboo and not many use that. I mean it's a taboo lah orang bila orang dengar perkataan prostitute tu is something macam defame. How about it's the same work, it's the same type of work, tapi instead of calling that person pelacur is are you a sex worker? Dia macam lagi soft, tapi would it fall to defame
Are you a
someone?
sex worker? Tadi pelacur kan, memang macam gila-gila lah kan. Tapi kalau sex worker, like what you ask, macam mana? The rest, what do you think?
I think it carries the same weight.
The same weight lah kan. Kita sex worker, I mean what is a sex worker? Sex worker is selling your body, apa lagi? I don't know, is there any other thing of a sex worker other than sexually punya intercourse?
Oh, faham. Sebab macam dekat US kan, they are trying to normalize because prostitute it seems so harsh. So although it carries the same meaning, it carries the same weight, tapi sex worker dia macam it's a work macam tu lah, compare dengan prostitute macam tu. So
sex.
Definition dia macam a bit different code, I don't know. Tapi tu dekat US lah, and Malaysia still using the same word.
Sex worker is a recognition. Is a mode of trying to recognize the profession of a person to earn a living. So kalau lah kata the law is trying to support that particular activity, prostitution is a legalized manner. So they don't say prostitute, but a sex worker, sex worker is orang kata nama cantik sikit lah kan, though it does mean the same thing. Normally it is being used by women's punya feminist punya ni lah, ataupun the one that is wanting to say that it is their body, they have the right to do whatever they want to their body as long as they don't go and do things that is not allowed by the law, if the law allows prostitution, right? So a sex worker is more orang kata dignitive punya words that is to be used. So yes, I do agree. There is movement throughout the world to recognize prostitution and to put it in a nicer words, nicer label. We call it sex worker, not trying to defame. But the same thing, the content is about prostitution, meaning you are selling body parts, your body parts, but you selling services, which is your body lah. I would say sex worker in context with the countries that you are talking at, ataupun you're talking or making statement is relevant. So kalau dekat Malaysia sex worker, prostitute, it will fall under slander. But in Thailand macam mana? Sex worker.
If I got it correctly, Thailand dia legal to work as a sex worker. So kalau kita ambil Malaysian perspective and then sample dekat Thailand, I think it's not gonna be defamation.
Okay. Kalau dekat Singapore?
Singapore tak sure.
Tak sure. Macam mana the sex worker in Singapore?
It's prohibited there, right? So
Actually, the other way around. Singapore is legalized. Prostitution is legalized in Singapore, but in Thailand, prostitution is against the law. Pelik
So terbalik. So it made many people understand that it's legalized in Thailand.
It is illegal in Thailand, but it seems that the economy is something that generates income to the economy. So they close one eye lah, but the provision is very clear.
Alright.
Because dia against Buddhism punya principle pun, you know. So tapi Singaporean dia kebanyakannya Christians kan, but it also in a way it's against the religion. But somehow they are secular and progressive, and then Singapore they legalize, but they don't allow you to pinch to advertise. You cannot advertise, you cannot go to roadsides and offer your services. In that sense, actual advertisement or advertise in the newspaper tak boleh lah. I mean, it's something that is you can do it in private punya domain. Tapi dekat Thailand is totally different. Okay. Nampak beza dia? Right, soalan. Any questions? Saya sorry ambil masa lama-lama cakap ni letih juga. So jawab soalan lagi bagus. I think you all pun dah boring dengar benda ni. Aduh, banyak ni nak kena belajar ni. Okay, anything that you want to relate to any questions that you want to ask? Yes, please.
I have questions. Kan kalau slander to woman tu untuk perempuan sahaja kan, macam kalau orang tuduh perempuan tu melacurkan diri, that kita boleh apply to woman. Kalau lelaki,
lelaki
kalau kita
tak boleh.
cakap lelaki tu gay,
lelaki tu gay.
Contohlah.
So,
badan.
Apa dia punya impact?
Sorry?
Apa dia rasa impact? Kalau gay.
I think sama je, macam dia menjatuhkan air muka lelaki tu juga, like it's a bad
tapi
thing,
tak
like,
ada provision spesifik just sebab dia kata perempuan kan?
Ya. So,
jadi, macam gender bias pula ya?
Ya. So kalau lelaki macam mana pula?
So kalau lelaki, it can be in a way that reputation of a person in terms of dia punya business position yang dia pegang. You know, gay has been in apa orang kata, attacked by the society, right? Whenever they are holding a position in offices, you know, you don't want gay colleagues, you don't want gay managers, gay something, you know. So dia boleh utilize the second slander in relation to profession, you know. Slander lah, the word slander, gay itu maksudnya kalau tak betul, obviously it is a defamatory punya words, then it can be used to that. Okay, ni title maybe, you know, up to, tapi ini title So malicious, it can be also utilized in malicious punya falsehood. There is an intention that you can prove to the court that he or she uttered that for defaming, or you can link up to diseases, contagious diseases, where that person is gay and therefore he practices in what do you call it, behavior that is that can lead to diseases. But this is just throwing an idea, but you can, in the court of law, it must be diseases. You gay, then you practice this so-called sodomizing, and therefore you might exposed to AIDS, you know. Sometimes people nak cakap tu dia bukan kata gay saja, dia kata you practices dia macam mana, and it leads to some AIDS punya situation. Then you can utilize section number 4. With bukan cakap gitu, bukan cakap pakai satu je, you can combine, you can combine the exception. So ada 3 exception you boleh pakai.
Faham, thank you.
You bukan practice gay, you dapat income dari gay punya activities. So imputation of a crime. Kan, it's not legalized kan. Then tengok how creative are you. in terms of trying to prove your case against the other person. Good question. Lagi ada soalan?
Tak ada, thank you.
Okay, alright. So betul tak ada soalan? Okay, kita masuk the second part, which is 11. Dah dekat. Okay, words are defamatory. Yeah, the words must be something that is can be defined as lowering the estimation of the plaintiff mind and of right-thinking member of society. Maksudnya lower the estimation of the position of the plaintiff in the eyes of the society. So the plaintiff is going to be, as a result of that, to be avoided and shunned and ridiculed. Yeah, kalau ridicule lagi bagus, you have evidence to show that because of that statement that was made against me, therefore I was ridiculed. So you collect all the evidences. Tapi kalau avoided, you in terms of Facebook tadi, so the numbers goes down, you know, shun, and people you try to approach that person, the person doesn't want to be your friends anymore, you know. So this is only, bukanlah satu, kita nampak repeated cases. So if you can prove it, then you will be able to show it is defamatory in nature. So how do you identify the right thinking members of the society is based on Riesenberg test. Yeah. So everyone knows about Riesenberg test right now. What is Riesenberg test? Okay, reasonable test macam mana?
Saya try. It's a test when what would be the reasonable person do or do not do in that situation.
Okay, so lagi anyone? Reasonable test.
Saya try, sir.
Okay.
Can I say a reasonable man would be a common person punya reaction to that particular situation. A common person punya reaction. Yeah.
Okay, a reasonable person. And reasonable person will be the representation of the society of a person that is a normal person, a normal working person that is able to give some general or an answer that represent majority of the society. So if you're looking at this curve, so in our society comprises of this curve. Yeah, we have in any situation there will be this particular curve, the curve whereby it represents the minority of the society in terms of the left and right, and the majority is in the middle. So that person must be coming from the middle, majority of the society. How do you know that? A working person, dia panggil omnibus test. Omnibus test meaning a person that goes to work and come back from work. You know, working person. A working person is considered as a normal person. Okay. What do you mean by a working person as normal person? There are people in the society who doesn't work because they are so poor. So therefore, it is not reasonable for us to get this person to answer our questions because they are poor. I mean, nampak macam something macam tak fair lah kan. But you have to get somebody that is representing the general population. So general population are workers, you know, here. But when it comes to those people at this particular end, they are rich people who doesn't work. So it is not fair for you to ask these people because they are so filthy rich, they don't have to work. So you will not get a correct answer or a good representation of the answer to the majority of the people. So the poor and the rich are not going to be the one that you want to look at. So sama juga kalau you pakai curve ni, keluk ni untuk, say for example, practices in hospitals. What is the normal standard practices in the hospital? So ada yang hospital tak pernah buat, ada yang hospital lebih rajin yang buat, you know. Kita tak mau tengok the extreme, but we want to take the middle part, which is representing the majority of hospital in Malaysia. So kalau if you are talking about fear of what do you mean by reasonable fear? Reasonable fear akan tengok ada orang yang terlampau takut. Tengok satu tikus dia pengsan, you know. My wife dengan family members kalau nampak kucing lompat atas meja, you know. Dia akan menjerit sana menjerit sini, you know. That is an extreme part. But there are people yang terlampau kalau tengok tikus dekat tepi jalan tu dia boleh pergi sayang nak pegang, nak belai, you know. You're not going to be getting a reasonable answer. The reasonable answer is from the majority of the society. Okay? So in any situation, reasonable man test is the one that is representing the majority of the society. Okay, so I bagi bird's eye view. Obviously, you have to go back and learn and read in order for you to be able to discover the area and for us to discuss. You know, you can contact me, you can put it under your future, you know, for you to be able to clarify. Sir, I'm referring to page 249, paragraph number 2, line number 4. Say for example, what does it mean by cold and calculated way? Then we can discuss that. Yeah, I won't be able to go in detail sangat, you know. It's not fair. We doesn't have the time to cover that also. Okay, so the first thing is to, as I already mentioned, is based on words must be defamatory. So how do you know whether that words is defamatory or not? In the eyes of a reasonable man. Yeah? And we will look at those situations where the court does not concern itself with whether the member of society in actual fact avoid the plaintiff as a crucial factor, whether the words is capable of convincing a defamatory meaning towards the plaintiff. Tak, dia akan tengok the question from the perspective of the court. If you can prove, then obviously, as I already mentioned, the burden of proof is to convince the judge. So if you can provide sufficient evidence to make the judge incline towards your argument, then it might be better. Yeah. So obviously they are not concerned what is the interpretation of the society, because society punya interpretation actually reasonable man ni bukannya orang kat luar yang court akan ambil masa excuse me masuk Ustaz, can you give me the answer for this particular question? If you are in this position, would you feel offended? No, it is not going to be in that manner. So here bottom line is about the judge himself. Okay, so the court, meaning the court, the judge lah, it's not concerned about how you interpret. It's about him or her as the judge who is going to put themselves in that situation. If you as the lawyer can convince the judge to have his opinion towards your argument, then bagus lah. Tapi the court eventually, meaning the judge eventually akan buat decision. Okay, it does not matter or one whether they are believing to that particular statement, whether it's true or not. No. It's not about that. It's about the reasonable man, which is the judge. Yeah, sorry. That is the real situation. It's not reasonable man by virtue of a reasonable man from representing the society, as already mentioned here. But the judge himself is actually a reasonable man, because he is a person that represents member of the society that goes to work in order for them to earn a living. So in a way, the judge is actually a reasonable person. Though you might say, apa pula reasonable person? He is a very knowledgeable person in terms of the law. Yeah, he might be intelligent in terms of the law, but he is also a human being, and he will be able to say whether it is reasonable or not. So the plaintiff must know what has been said to him and cannot merely guess, must know. Know means, as I already mentioned above, it has to be documented. It must be proven. Kalau lah kata Hokkien tadi, it must be Hokkien. You kena orang Hokkien, you faham. So Hokkien dengan Hokkien dia faham. So kalau Hokkien dengan Tamil dia tak tahu, dia interpret Hokkien punya words tu, it must be katalah perkataan kata sorry ya, I gunakan perkataan cibai. Cibai tu apa? Cili ke apa ke? So it has to be something yang memang orang tu tahu. Okay, and then barulah dia kata it is something that you must know. Yeah. So the way it was the way the words was uttered also relevant. So kalau lah kata dengan cara dia, again kita tengok the facts of the case. You look at the facts of the case. If the facts of the case is very clear that the person is on an attacking mode, the words that he or she said prior to the statement of defamatory is in the nature of trying to defame, and the key word of the defamatory kata you are a prostitute, and that is also to be considered. So okay, so that is reasonable manner. Okay, so sorry, excuse me. So it is an objective test. Ingat dia objective test, dia bukan subjective. It is either yes or no. So tak ada maybe, because the court akan decide sama ada it is defamatory or not. Banyak case, I want you to read the cases in order for you to understand further. Okay, now natural and ordinary meaning looking at the sentence ataupun the statement that is being made is actually defamatory. So the word complaint are defamatory in the natural and ordinary meaning. Maksudnya sesuatu yang kita tengok by the nature of the written words yang dikata anda seorang prostitute, okay? Anda adalah perempuan jalang. That is considered as ordinary meaning. Okay, anda adalah sex worker. Dari segi libel ke, slander ke, tak kisah sama ada written form ke ataupun verbal ke, that is considered as natural and ordinary meaning. Tak payah kita nak interpret differently. Dia memang clear cut. Okay, it is understood by any ordinary people looking at that statement. Memanglah itulah yang dikatakan, tak ada benda lain. Okay, kalau lah kata benda tu benda lain, then kita that is bukan natural and ordinary meaning. Contoh dia ambil sini, dia kata Institute of Commercial Management United Kingdom and New South Wales, Press Malaysia, dia kata British ni this institute is the diploma mills. Okay, diploma mills maksudnya lembu kalau masuk dalam institute pun akan terlepas dapat diploma. Ini dia memang niaga diploma je lah. They are institute in Malaysia yang memang kita ada 99 institute. I think more than now is more than that. I think kita ada 99 lebih institute yang dekat Malaysia ni. Orang overseas datang untuk nak buat diploma, degree, dan some of them tak perlu datang pun, they are institute yang buat macam tu perangai, di mana orang tu tak perlu masuk kelas, submit aja. I mean, doesn't make sense. Bukan OUM lah, I'm not talking about OUM. OUM dia punya dia punya system is being approved by MQA. Tetapi ada institute yang sepatutnya orang tu masuk kelas tapi tak pernah datang kelas, and then final pun kita kena tolong dia. Doesn't make sense. They are only for the benefit of that. So the plaintiff alleged the words were calculated to injure and disparage the plaintiff in his trade. The courts held that any ordinary reasonable person reading the article would certainly link ICM with one of the organizations which operated in diploma mills. So there is a strong tendency to lower the plaintiff in the estimation of right thinking. Nampak reasonable person, tapi bukan yang right thinking member of the society ni, bukan member of the society itself, tetapi the judge. Okay, so it is considered as defamation. So banyak case yang di mana you boleh gunakan example yang what do you mean by ordinary and meaning. Itu kalau kita baca sepintas lalu kita tak payah nak interpret. So kalau innuendo macam innuendo ni macam mana kita nak panggil? Dia sebagai kiasan kita bagi kiasan. Sometimes defamation imputation does not arrive from literal meaning. It might be in a way that certain situation. Kita innuendo macam mana ni? Okay. Inference either inference or special facts. Dia tu lembut. What do you mean by lembut? Lembut is what? So dia ada interpretation. So false innuendo, whereby the words here it is a combination of statement and pictures. So you bagi satu picture, you letak situ, you bagi gambar Muhammad Haris, and then bawah tu dia adalah dia pernah masuk penjara. Okay, so statement, ada statement dan pictures combined, false innuendo, So kata plenty picture and below the picture caption reads a lawyer activities being investigated. So itu adalah juga kita panggil false innuendo dalam bentuk yang tak direct, tetapi dia adalah kalau orang tengok orang akan faham apa maksud dia. Okay. Especially dia kata kat sini, the plaintiff is not allowed to explain the meaning or inference to be drawn from the pictures. Anyone yang akan nampak gambar tu akan assume kata dia ni seorang jahat. Okay? So maksudnya kalau macam mana boleh jadi macam ni? Memang akan jadilah kalau orang yang niat jahat tu dia akan buat. Masukkan dalam blog, masukkan dalam Facebook, things like that. Bila dia dapat trying to insinuate orang kata pendapat awam, pendapat umum terhadap that particular person. So it is not clear indirectly kata dia seorang yang Muhammad Haris adalah seorang penipu, dia seorang penjenayah, dia seorang penjenayah, dia seorang pensyarah undang-undang yang penjenayah. So itu clear statement. Tapi kalau dia bagi picture dan dia kata ini adalah seorang seorang yang perlu disiasat, itu maksudnya itu adalah kena mengenai, itu dinamakan false innuendo. Banyak example yang dia bagi kat sini. You baca, you akan faham dalam kes-kes ini. Saya akan bagi copy yang ni, so bila highlight tu you tengok apa yang saya highlight. True. Yes. Yes.
Sir,
yes.
Sorry ada question. Yang false innuendo tu, how about it targets general group or identity of people? Contoh macam, because I noticed few years back ada some newspaper cutting, dia punya label terrorism, and then atas dia ada gambar the Muslim performing prayers. So kalau macam kita tengok yang what we learn today, that the Defamation Act ni only who can take the action tu macam, I mean it's not like targeted to specific individual, but only targeted to specific like group of people of similar identity. So kalau macam tu macam mana sir?
Tak boleh. Tak boleh. General statement towards a race or towards it can be taken action against another law, but when it comes to defamation kita tak boleh pakai, because defamation is targeting only one person. Nampak tak yang kita buat kat atas tadi kan? Person who may sue, person to be sued, it has to be a person, a illegal person. Even kalau kita tengok yang agensi kerajaan pun, di agensi kerajaan boleh ambil action, tapi chances untuk dia orang menang very minimal. It has to be a legal person, actual person. Kita ni actual person, but the company is legal person. So kalau you tengok cases, it has to be people. Tengok dalam semua cases semua akan ada orang. Kita tengok orang. Kita tengok orang. Company, orang. Jadi tak ada benda lain. If say for example you are suing that particular person on behalf of the general population, sebagai seorang Islam saya rasa terhina dengan statement yang dibuat, tak boleh. It would not stick in the court of law. Kenapa? You have to prove that you are the one that is being uttered ataupun you are specifically being targeted. So kalau general, then it is a general statement. Dia jadi jatuh macam tak ada apa-apa lah. You know, defamation is very clear. The purpose of defamation, macam I tengok tunjuk kat atas tadi, adalah to protect a person, bukan persons in terms of general population. Tak, it is about individual rights to be protected from being defamed. Good question. Good question. So katalah dalam bilik air dia kata ataupun dalam bilik air selalu orang mencarut kan, nak dapat seks telefon number ni, you know, telefon number ni is so happen that's your number, then you take picture, and then you know who the one yang buat tu. That is another evidence that you have to prove lah. But if it's something that is very specific or stating only towards you and no one else, then you have a ground, you have local standby, you have legal grounds. Otherwise, if it's general, then ada my student nak ambil action for KFC when they slaughter the chicken kan, slaughterhouse dia orang, I don't know whether the agency yang dia orang engage. So slaughterhouse ni selalunya dia gantungkan ayam tu masih hidup, dia orang akan letak air panas, air panas untuk dia jadi macam pengsan supaya dia masih hidup lagi, supaya disembelih senang sikit lah. Tidak dia untuk meronta sana meronta sini, it takes time. Doesn't make sense untuk conveyor belt tu berjalan dengan penuh efektif. So what happened was mati. You know, air panas tu terlampau panas, mati lah. Jadi bangkai lah, disembelih bangkai. So they wanted to take action against this so-called institution ataupun KFC and things like that, right? Tak boleh, because you have to prove, you know, you have to prove the losses that you suffered. That, how do you prove that? You kena specific pula, kena identify that particular animal was the one yang bangkai yang you makan. You tak boleh kata saya meloya. You know, it has to be specific in nature. Soalan, Eric, okay?
Okay, clear.
Okay, good. Alhamdulillah. Soalan lagi tanya, jangan biar saya cakap. Okay, true and legal innuendo, meaning there are facts that is known to that reception atau the one that is receiving the publication. So maksudnya untuk you all, you kenal siapa Haris. Untuk population, dia orang tak kenal siapa Haris. Lecturer nama Haris memang seorang perogol, right? Maksudnya general public tak tahu siapa. So if I were to go and take you to court and for making that statement, I have a burden of proof that the statement was really made and the impact of it towards my status, you know. So it has to be somebody yang memang boleh can identify me. So bila statement you buat adalah Haris lecturer undang-undang di UiTM, then it can only be me. So kalau you kata statement lecturer nama Haris di universiti di Malaysia ni memang perogol, which Haris, which university, which faculty. Tetapi kalau you are very direct in a sense that you say Haris untuk student, you buat pula statement dalam WhatsApp group ITM, group law pula tu. Okay, katalah you ada group dalam you punya level kan, you ada level 2, level 3 punya stage kan. So you ada main group, kata you buat statement Haris seorang lecturer yang perogol. So bila you buat statement macam tu, then everyone knows who you are talking about, because Haris untuk lecturer law, fakulti undang-undang ada seorang je. Oh tapi sekarang dah ada dua. Haris pula ada Z. Nama tak glamour dah lah. ada 2 orang. So kalau 2 orang pun now you have an issue. So because now for me to go to court and prove that that statement was made and referring to me is a very difficult thing. You have to add in certain other evidence that really shows that you are affected. Bukannya senang kita nak ni, right? So specific facts that needs to be known. Special knowledge will cause only words. The special knowledge will cause the words to be defamatory to the plaintiff. Meaning someone that you know, that particular person, and therefore only then it will be defamatory. So for example, dia kata kat sini, A were to sell C that B enjoys a glass of or 2 of wine on the weekends, and the statement was not defamatory in its natural and ordinary meaning. Okay, dia ini just to show that ni bukannya orang Islam lah ya. But if C knows that B is a Muslim, general statement orang tak tahu kata dia tu siapa kan, you know. Tapi kalau C ni tahu siapa orang tu, dia punya nature as a Muslim, then it will give rise to true and or legal innuendo. Maksudnya betul lah. Okay, dia bukan tekaan sahaja lagi. Dia adalah satu yang real. Dia macam mana boleh tahu real? Sebab saya kenal dia. Saya tahu Haris bukannya orang dia ni seorang Muslim. Takkanlah dia minum arak pula. Ni maksudnya dia telah menyatakan sesuatu yang tak betul, you know. If I can prove in the court of law that that is defamatory in nature because of legal innuendo or true innuendo, then obviously the court will favor me. Okay, macam mana true innuendo? Dia kena prove external facts, that exist external facts, that the words by the defendant and the facts which must be proven combined with the defendant words are defamatory. Dia maksudnya external facts. External facts orang tahu, orang yang dicakap tu adalah student saya. You cakap dekat saya kepada student saya. Obviously student saya kenal. Okay, I show that the statement was made to my student. I can show to the court those are the one that receiving the statement was ataupun are my student. If I can prove that, then combine dengan statement yang dia cakap kata Haris seorang perogol, dah jadi requirement of legal innuendo dah ada. Okay, the facts are known by one of more person. One cukup lah, where is considered as published. And then the knowledge of the fact may cause the words to be defamatory in the eyes of a reasonable man, you know. The standard test akan pakai juga lah, a reasonable man. Okay, right. Ni contoh dia bagi golfer. Sepatutnya golfer ni tak boleh, dia against the professional punya kalau professional dia tak boleh lah buat advertisement, you know. So the issue whether they receive payment or advertisement or not, you know. So the defendant liable for those who knew the plaintiff status may reasonably assume that plaintiff had consented to and had been paid for advertisement. Maksudnya kalau orang tak tahulah whether dia golfer yang, you know, dapat duit ke tak dapat duit. So kalau profesional kita tahulah dia profesional kan. Tapi kalau mature ni, maksudnya kalau dia dah masuk ke dalam advertisement, apa kena-mengena dia? Mestilah dapat duit. So in other words, trying to defame a person that he or that person is something that is, orang kata, tak bagus lah, ya, karakter dia tak bagus. Alright, okay, juxtaposition ni apa pula? Juxtaposition involves situation of employs visual effect such as effigy. Effigy ni macam mana kalau dia buat patung, you know, some produce in terms of photograph in a file or pictures pun boleh juga, you letak, you know, gambar-gambar saya masuk dalam progo bersiri pun is considered as juxtaposition. You are trying to insinuate ataupun implicate that I am one. Kalau lah under investigation, that is another thing. Tapi kalaulah tak ada investigation that is being conducted, I am the one that is being stated as one of the, apa orang kata, you just you letak. Salah seorang daripada mereka ini adalah Progo Bersiri. Muka saya ada kat situ. So that is Jusa position. Yeah. Soalan?
So saya ada soalan.
Yes, good.
Kalau apa nama, someone is making statement and then he just he is just describing you, not write your name, tapi dia describe your appearance or character, can we sue him? For example, let's say dia kata A seorang lecturer di fakulti undang-undang, he's describing you tapi dia tak sebut nama. And then dia fitnah lah, so nak tahu can we sue him or not?
Lecturer undang-undang yang kepala botak tu, dia seorang Progo tau tak?
Yes.
Bila you kata lecturer undang-undang, macam you buat statement kan, seorang lecturer yang botak tu, dalam fakulti undang-undang siapa yang botak? Laki. Kita ambil laki dulu. So Progo ini seorang lelaki kan. Progo ada boleh perempuan? Mungkin lah ya, mungkin Progo ada perempuan. Tapi you kata lecturer lelaki, kepala botak. Takkan perempuan kepala botak pula kan. So wallahu alam lah kan. Tapi on the face of it, that you are trying to refer to a lecturer undang-undang yang kepala botak. Who else you are talking about? It must be him. It must be me. Kalau ada 2-3 botak, that's another issue lah. Siapa botak lagi dalam fakulti undang-undang? It depends lah, tengok the facts. You know, if the Adlan Adlan botak kan. So pendek botak dengan tinggi botak, I tinggi lagi daripada Cik Adlan kan. So you can say that okay, you now fine tune. So orang kulit hitam, kami dua-dua kulit hitam. Dia ada janggut tak? Saya beruban, dah lah beruban janggut. Maksudnya you are trying to give some indication, specific indication that this is the person that you are talking about. Okay. Boleh tak Ahmad?
Ya, got it.
Okay. Soalan lagi. Good. Tanya soalan because that is the mission pun. Kalau you dengar je tak faham, kalau you have any question, just tanya je. Any question guys? Kalau tak ada, Allahu Akbar. Tak habis juga lah kita noh. 11, 12, 1, 2. Shush. Okay, tak apalah. Boleh lah. Doesn't mean that I worried about the assignment tu, tapi tak apa. You can do it on your own. Yeah. Okay. Baca sendiri untuk this one. Nanti I will give you a video that is in relation to defamation yang recorded from previous classes that you can add with this video that I'm going to share later on. So with these 2 videos, insyaAllah, and the videos yang ada dalam my YouTube channel tu pun, you boleh utilize in order for you to go through the session. Okay, the second one is word refer to the plaintiff. Okay, tadi the first one is defamation. Kan? Macam mana the word defamation? It is subjective. Okay, what do you mean by subjective? It depends on the reasonable man, and it depends on the judge, and then it depends on the nature of how it is being uttered. Kalau clear words, direct, memang okay. Kalau juxtaposition, kalau innuendo, macam mana? It depends on that. Yeah? So now the second thing is to refer the words, the words or the one that is defamatory. Yang number 1 tadi must refer to plaintiff. Ini yang saya cakap tu dah kata Haris yang rambut botak tu, kalau you kata lecturer yang rambut botak, it refers to that particular person. Okay, anyone that is acquainted to the plaintiff must believe ataupun bukan must, believe that the person referred to, it has to be in that manner. So kalau kata Haris, senanglah. Tapi kalau you tak kata Haris, it is something that is also in a way that can be identified depending on the crowd. So therefore, the words refer to the plaintiff directly, whether the name or description in this second requirement will be satisfied. Nampak So kalau you letak nama Haris, seorang pensyarah undang-undang di Malaysia. It has to be something that is more direct. Mungkin dekat UKM ada nama Haris, ada dekat UIA ada nama Haris, things like that. Plaintiff who wishes to establish the words refers to him by external or intrinsic facts, based on the document ataupun based on the situation, right? External or intrinsic needs to prove that the external or intrinsic fact, maksudnya whatever evidence that you have is actually referring to you, as already mentioned. Second is it was published to person who have actual knowledge of the external or intrinsic fact. Maksudnya macam yang tadi lah, dia bagi tahu tentang seorang pensyarah undang-undang di UiTM, kepala botak dia minum arak. Kepala botak means it can be kepala botak Mr. Rama, dia pun botak juga, tapi dia seorang ni. Tapi kalau you kata tu berkenaan dengan external facts, dia kata seorang Melayu. Jadi maksudnya Melayu stated that the person is a Muslim and obviously doing something that is against the religion. So imputing knowledge that the facts of a reasonable man from a perspective of reasonable man. Kalau a reasonable man can think that it is not fair for him to make that kind of statement, kata Haris seorang peminum arak, then obviously it can be something that you can utilize to take action against the person. Okay, words, itu nombor 2, words refer to the plaintiff. Okay, must be towards the plaintiff. Now the third one is the words must be published. Dissemination of the words or material that is being defamatory in nature must be given to a third party. It must be a third party. Otherwise, there is no defamation. Okay, it must be given to a third party. Jadi kalau you dengan I bercakap antara satu sama lain, tak ada. That is dalam bentuk inquiry ke, macam tadi prostitute kan. You seorang yang perogol, you seorang, this is just tak ada orang yang ketiga. Kalau tak ada orang ketiga, then it is not fulfilling the third requirement, which is stating it to the third party. Okay, dia kata general rule, if that document contains defamatory words, is expected to be published to a third party, and the third party does in fact read the document. Yang ditanya soalan tadi, bila you dah tulis and then you buat as draft and then suddenly it went through another person reading it, habis. That is considered as defamatory. Perception. Okay, exception, dia kata no publication is deemed exist if communication is made between spouses. So jangan pula husband and wife is considered as defamatory. Because husband and wife dia akan bergosip, dia akan cakap benda-benda yang they are considered as one entity. It's a contract that has been signed. They are now as a one entity. So it is not. So ada exception dekat situ. Defamatory kalau words conveyed to one spouse concerning the other spouse. Okay, that is considered as defamatory. Maksudnya dia sampaikan tentang bini dia kepada orang lain. That is defamatory. Tapi between the spouses is considered as not defamatory. Okay. Hal lain semua baca. Yang saya buat ni, tepi-tepi ni baca sendiri. Okay, I think that's it untuk defamation. Now kita nak tengok kalau next. I think I will give you the video with regards to defenses of defamation. because time is nearing. So nanti you go through defenses of defamation, my video. Otherwise, you can read on your own. If you are not able to understand, obviously you have me to refer to and ask question. Kalau you segan untuk nak cakap dekat group, main group kan, so you can always PM me and ask me question. Tak ada issue. Okay. Tapi don't expect me to answer immediately because it will take I don't look at my phone. Kadang-kadang my wife is inside the group in order for her to check. So kalau you tanya, it's better to tanya dalam group. Better because your question might be something yang orang lain boleh benefit. So basically that would be the area of defamation. So balik kepada summary dia ialah we started with the right of ataupun a right of a person to be protected under the law of being defamed by another. So everyone have every rights to say whatever they want, but not to the extent that they defaming other people. Yeah, that is not fair. So the law of defamation will come in that give you the benefit for the society, meaning Attorney General to take action against you under the court of law for criminal act, and on top of that for civil, the individual that is concerned about the being defamed can take action against the other person in the court of law under civil jurisdiction. So you have two means of taking action, but obviously you, meaning individual, you will only initiate civil. So in order for you to initiate civil, there are proof that you need to bring to the court. There will be the libel and slander. You know, libel is permanent, slander is temporary. What is temporary is making a statement, you know, verbally, where it is not lasting. So the compensation that you are going to be given ataupun the rights that you are going to be given by the court is that kalau libel, you don't have to prove damages. Yeah, you don't have to prove damages to the court. As long as you can bring a piece of paper and saying that, look, my lord, Tuan Yang Arif, dia telah memalukan saya. Ini adalah bahan bukti, you know, on a piece of paper ataupun dalam newspaper ataupun dalam blog, that you sebelum dia erase, so you dah capture. So that is evidence. Jadi kalau slander, this you have to prove. You have to prove in the eyes of the court ataupun the judge, reasonable person. Reasonable person would also a reasonable person would suffer in terms of financial. It is good for you to provide evidence, but if it's not, then you know, you have to persuade the judge to be on your side. So that is libel and slander. And then we have all the category in terms of the formula. The formula is ada tiga. The words must be defamatory, refer to the plaintiff, and obviously publish. Yeah, ada tiga tu kan. So these three is the one that you have to explain. So balik kepada soalan, you know, so if you look at this particular question, then you have to apply whether it is libel or slander. That is the first question that you have to look at. Is it libel or slander? Okay. Was it she screams. So she screamed tu dah slander. So jadi kita ada slander by general definition ataupun exception. Does it falls under exception or not? You don't have to ini fikir lah, you fikir. So kalau ni large national rights, that is libel, yang ni slander. So macam mana kalau dia kata scream ni, dia kena identify in terms of reasonable person, in terms of losses, actual damage. So kalau rights, tak payah, that is considered actionable per se. So republish, orang yang republish macam mana? So kalau republish, they are not the originator, tapi can they be sued? Yes, you can. But whether mistake, honest mistake, yang ni mistake ni maksudnya akan dapat dalam defense lah. So you baca defense, you akan nampak, oh kalau mistake macam mana, things like that. So kalau lah kata does it refer murderer destroyer of tiny fluffy lives, does it falls under defamatory? Formula dia, was it defamation words? Does it refer to the plaintiff? Does it being published? Nampak tak? There are a number of people hear the outburst, so it will considered as published lah. So you have to decipher lah by virtue of cases. Yeah, you have to cite the cases. Remember, in the real life, there will be two parties involved in this particular case. If this is a legal case that goes to the court, obviously there are the plaintiff and defendant. So the defendant will say it is not defamation, it is not defamatory. You say it is defamatory. It's your words or your argument, legal argument against their legal argument. So you have to prove, proof of your argument in order for you to convince the court to be in your favor. So ingat dalam assignment tu, I don't want you to talk about details of all these, because these are the text, not to be replicated, to replicate the documents dalam ni, but it is just for you to apply. Okay, so the question, the answer is not going to be long. It might be 2 pages long, right? It does not be in a assignment where you can quote itu quote sini apa semua, you know. I want actual dalam exam, kita practice untuk exam. Boleh? You can explain in general lah, because ni bukan exam kan. Kalau exam obviously lagilah masa suntuk, right? Tapi ni ada 2 minggu, so you can actually decipher a bit about the things that you want to talk. You can only introduce the law that you are going to use. For obviously defamation, you are talking about everything. So don't talk about everything, you just state the thing that you are going to apply. Okay guys, boleh? Soalan? Lagi 2 minit. So I think you have another class?
245 sir.
Oh, 245. Okay. You need to have that rest. So the recording I akan bagi link, and then another link on the, you masuklah my YouTube channel tu, I dah list down dalam apa orang kata one group, juris pula, Talks 2 under title defamation ataupun defamation. InsyaAllah yeah guys.
Okay.
Alright, so any question please ask and I will try to answer it. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum. Selamat buka sir.
Thank you.
Masuk dia ada attendance kan? Ada tak attendance? Ada. Mana dia? Online class. Finish. Oh, right. Thank you very much guys. Mira, ada apa-apa nak tanya? Ada I remove you.